Today's video is all about how you can make better decisions within your ad account so you can scale up your ads past $1,000, past $5,000 or even past $10,000 a day in ad spend. So I would say let's hop right into the video. How to make better decisions in your ad account. So the first thing is to look at the campaign level or ad set level. Before you make any changes on the ad level, you take a look at the ad set level or campaign level and check, am I reaching my targets or am I off? Is my target CPA too high? And then you kind of start to question yourself, what's causing me to be off? So here I have a quick example. So this ad, this is what ad set, and this ad set has spent 129K and I generated a 2.19 ROAS. And if you look at one individual ad, it generated 18K, or it spent 18K and generated 1.88K back. And if you look at this ad individually, you might think, I need to turn this ad off because the target ROAS for this account is a 2.0, right? But if you look at the whole, the ad set, it generated 2.19. So while this ad may not got me above a 2.x ROAS, it still is better than a 0 ROAS, right? If this 18K would have gone to other ads, they may not have generated a 1.88 in total, right? So before you make any decisions, before you turn any ad off, even if this ad, generated a ROAS below my target CPA, it still contributed to the 2.19 overall ROAS, right? So start questioning yourself, if you're not reaching your target CPAs, what's causing me to be off, and identify the ads that you need to improve, because it's most likely only one ad that you need to improve. If you already have spent some budgets, if you're already spending like $100, $200, $300 per day, it's most likely only one ad that you need to improve. And your job as a brand owner, as a media buyer, as a Facebook advertiser is to identify that ad that you need to improve, that you need to change, and then to improve that ad, right? It's not relaunching every single ad. It's finding that one ad which has potential to become your prospecting ad or to become your retargeting ad. Like identify what your account is missing, what you need to improve, which ad type, and then improve it, right? That's your job essentially. Then how you can make better decisions overall is by starting to analyze frequencies and CPMs. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to explain to you why that is important in 1 second. So some ads have a lower ROAS than others, but are good at bringing in new people into the funnel. Those are essentially prospecting ads. Back in the days where you would have a separate retargeting campaign and a separate prospecting campaign, the retargeting campaign had always a higher ROAS, right? And now, since we are combining retargeting and prospecting into essentially one campaign, a full funnel campaign, I've made a separate video about that, linked up right here, which focuses on a full funnel campaign approach. But some ads, are just have a lower ROAS, but they're good at bringing in new people into the funnel. So how can you identify that? There are essentially 4 different instances which you can look at. So the first instance is low frequency and low CPMs. Also always break down by day. So if you want to take a look at the frequency, break it down day by day, and then look at the last 7 or last 14 days. And the ads which have a low frequency on a day-by-day basis, and low, I mean below a 1.1. So the daily frequency is like 1.03, 1.04, something like that. And if they have a low CPM compared to your account average, then this ad is most likely a prospecting ad. And they often do not bring in the best ROAS or the best CPAs, simply because they're prospecting ads. Their job is to bring new people into the funnel, right? Then you have some other ads which may have a low frequency but high CPMs. And if you have a low frequency but very high CPMs, it most likely means that this ad is not good enough for Facebook to push spend, because they most often have high CPAs, right? And then in this instance, they are also a good prospecting ad, which is why you turn them off, right? Then we have ads which have a high frequency and high CPMs, and those are most likely retargeting ads, and they should hopefully be bringing in you a better ROAS or a cheaper CPA, right? And then we have ads which have a high frequency and a low CPM. Still a retargeting ad, but a very engaging one, and Facebook wants to push it to more people, right? And this is how you take a look at CPMs and frequencies, and how you analyze the different funnel stages, what your ad account might be missing, etc., etc. So, we've talked about CPMs, frequencies. There also might be an instance where your account is flagged if you have high CPMs, but if your CPMs are on the normal level, if they are below, let's say $30 on average, you probably have a normal CPM, and then you can do this CPM analysis, right? But if you have CPMs which rise above $50, $60, $70, You probably have your ad account flagged, maybe you're using words which you should use, maybe your ad account scores low, then that's a different issue. But if your CPMs are normal, you should do a frequency and CPM analysis. Then the next thing, which I think a lot of people always forget, is the breakdown effect. I have a link right here, so we can take a look at it officially from Facebook about the breakdown effect when advertising on our system. And I'm not gonna go through all of this because I've linked this down in the description, but I'm gonna go over the graph in just 1 second. But basically, at the start of the campaign, the system began delivering ads to both platforms to explore where the lowest cost opportunities were through pacing. And our system will give you the most results for your budget when you create flexible campaigns through lowest cost bidding, automatic placements, and campaign budget optimization, right? And the breakdown effect may lead to some confusion when interpreting Ads Manager campaign results, but ultimately it will help you maximize performance. So you have to understand that Facebook wants to give you the best results, and that your current results do not indicate the future. Just because one ad has a high ROAS and Facebook is not spending more on that ad, the Facebook algorithm is not wrong. It just indicated that in the future it may not get the best results, right? So in this instance, this is Facebook's official image, and they are going for a placement kind of test, right? So you have an ad which focuses on Instagram first, and then focuses on Instagram, both different placements, right? And on the instance, it looked like the Facebook newsfeed got a way better CPA, and you might think, why is, for example, Instagram not spending more on that when it got a cheaper CPA? But the breakdown effect is basically that the algorithm, the system, Facebook can detect the future. And after a couple of days, the CPA would have shot up through the roof. And this is where Facebook is spending more on the one which, which you are seeing has a higher CPA, but in fact, in the future, it would have not had a higher CPA, right? And this is why you may see ads which have a high ROAS, which Facebook is not spending money on, ads with a low ROAS, Facebook is money spending on these because they know it can deliver stable results and the other ads couldn't bring those results, etc., right? Facebook divides the ad spend between ad sets or ads and to what serves you best, right? And that's what you have to understand. Then number 4, spend is an indicator. Very short point, but if something is not getting spent, it's not good enough. If you're testing with a CPO setup, if you are having 5 to 7 ads within your scanning campaign and one is not getting any spend, even though you think it's a great ad, it's getting great ROAS, it's simply not good enough to deserve spend. Yes, it may be good at giving you like one purchase every $10 every other day, but it's not better than that, And I think the 5th point that we have to cover is, errors do happen in the system, right? Errors happen, but rarely. So I'm a trainer, I quite often saw this tweet the other day, where an advertiser basically let the algorithm do the work, or let the algorithm do its thing, but then he had one ad which spent a lot of money, but got the highest CPA by far, like to the point where it was not sustainable anymore, right? And in this instance, most likely, he was saying, he knew about the breakdown effect and spending a C1 driven 1 conversion a week. And the premise is that the Facebook algorithm does do mistakes. So in this instance, it will probably be best to turn off this ad to see how the CPA is affected by turning off this ad. And errors happen, but if this was your campaign, would you shut off that ad or get it right? And this is the best way to show you that errors happen, but they do happen rarely. So your job also is, do not get in Facebook's way, but at the same time check if the system is running how it's designed to be. So all in all, to kind of sum this up, you want to do as few changes as possible overall. Your only job is basically to launch new creatives, to have a simplified account setup which doesn't get in Facebook's way, and then at the end make the best decisions which serve the system, Facebook ads, because it's a system, to not get it in its way, to kind of check for errors. If there are errors, because they do happen, rarely, but they do happen, then you should kind of get rid of the errors and then not get in Facebook's way again. Just because there's one error doesn't mean the Facebook system is flawed. Every system has errors, and your job is to be aware of them, fix them, and then let Facebook do the work again. So I kind of hope that this video helped you, or has helped you make a better decision in the future for your ad account. Again, do not touch things. If there's one bad day, it doesn't mean the next day is going to be bad. Have some patience, do less things overall, and you're going to be a good advertiser for Facebook.